everyone. It's so good to have you today, and we have such a special guest with us today. It is Joe Conway, and welcome to Recovery in Action, and we have a lot to talk about. And we're going to be talking about Brianna's Hope, and we're going to be talking about how things in the community are going to help people. And I just want to let everyone know, as I do in every show, there's always hope in recovery. As long as you are breathing, as long as your loved ones are breathing, there is hope. And never give up. Never stop praying for them. Never give up on them. It may seem like it's hopeless and that nothing is working, but I'm telling you, we have so much going on in the community right now that can help you and that is there to support you and can encourage you. There's places they can go. We can direct them to meetings. We can direct them to recovery homes. We can help them find detox. There's so much. So never feel like that there's nothing out there for you and that there's no hope. There's always hope in Jesus Christ. And I just want to tell you real quick about the meetings that we have here in town, because in case some of you don't know about them, I just want to really make sure that you realize that every night of the week, just about, there is something going on. There's a meeting that someone can go to, they can attend. And the first one I want to start with is Monday evenings is Better Days from 5:30 to 7:30, and that's on Iowa Avenue at the Faith Builders Christian School. They have it right there, and Derek Harrison is over that. And then in Richmond, if you're in that area, the 228 Club, it's a women-only group, and that's at 7:30 p.m. in Richmond. On Tuesdays, there's a couple classes that goes on at Community Corrections, and you need to call them for more information, but one of them is Thinking for a Change, and the other one is Living in Balance. And you can call them and ask them for any information, how to sign up for those classes. But those are classes that can really help you. And then at 6:30 to 8, it's Brianna's Hope, and they actually serve a meal if you're there at 6. Mm-hmm. Is that right? At 6 o'clock, they actually serve a meal. So if you want to go and grab you something to eat, and then the meeting starts at 6:30, and that's at Cross Point Biker Church. And on Wednesday evening, they're again at Community Corrections. They have anger management from 4 to 5, criminal addictive thinking, and then that's from 5 to 6. And then there's a lot of local churches that have church meetings at 7 p.m. On Thursday evenings, again, they have Thinking for a Change at Community Corrections, and just call down there and ask them how you can get signed up for those. There's an AA meeting at the Eastview Baptist Church from 7:30 to 8:30, and there's a Brianna's Hope in Cambridge City at 6:30. And then on Friday evenings, there's NA at the Eastview Baptist Church from 7:30 to 8:30, and then there's Celebrate Recovery from 6 to 8 in Greensburg. Saturday evenings, there's an NA meeting at the Richmond State Hospital, and that's from 7 to 8. And Sunday afternoons, they have Living in Balance at Community Corrections from 1 to 2:30. And on Sunday evenings, at the Parish House at St. Gabriel's from 7 to 8, there's an NA meeting. And before that meeting, we have just started groups. It's called Victory for Concerned Persons, and Melody Wright is doing that, and that's ages 19 and up, and it's community support meetings for persons of loved ones that's in addiction. And then at the same time, from 6 to 7, it's called 3D Next Generation, and that's ages 7 to 12, and then teens 13 to 19. And both of those are Sunday evenings from 6 to 7. They have little breakout groups for the younger kids, and then the teenagers, and then the adults, people that have loved ones in addiction. And that's at St. Gabriel's Catholic Church in the parish office. And everyone is welcome. And they have snacks and coffee and water. So any of your children that needs to come, we would love to have them. and all adults are welcome also. So in the community, as you can see, we have a lot going on to support people in addiction. So, and now we have things that are supporting even the family members. So without further ado, I want to introduce Joel.
Thank you.
And it's so good to have you here today. And I hear so many good things about Brianna's Hope. Mm-hmm. We were just talking about that. I would say it's one of the largest groups in the area. I mean, you have a lot of people attending. And
it's grown a lot in the last couple months.
Yeah, and you're seeing people's lives changed, mm-hmm. and that's what it's all about.
Yes.
It's helping and supporting people.
Amen.
But first, I just want to ask you, tell me a little bit about why that you got started in helping people with addiction.
I grew up in a good Christian family, and I didn't really see addiction when I was younger, but when I was real young. But when I was 12, my parents got divorced, and mm-hmm. my mom was still taking care of the farm by herself with us kids. So one of my cousins moved out with us and to help take care of the farm, and he drank and smoked marijuana, and kind of I was 12 years old and started hanging out with him all the time, and mm-hmm. I was kind of started doing that and smoking all the time and drinking with him, and it just kind of snowballed from there as I got older and got into high school, and just got to where I was trying whatever was around at the time, and I just kind of lived my life drinking and doing whatever anybody put in front of me for about 25 years, and mm-hmm. till I was married. I had 2 kids, and when we divorced, and God gave me the opportunity to raise those kids at that point when she left, and that kind of got me thinking about the fact I need to straighten up my life. I wasn't living for God then, but He still helped me take away all those cravings, and I quit everything at once. I didn't have any cravings for alcohol or any drugs anymore from that point on. He just took everything away at one time. And it's, like I said, I wasn't living for Him then either. I still wasn't living right, but at least got rid of those and started slowly going to church. And I still had a lot of friends that were partying all the time and mm-hmm. still in addiction a lot. And about over 3 years ago, I started going to Cross Point Biker Church. And when I got there, I met Charmin Gabbard, and mm-hmm. she was talking to me, and she asked me if I wanted to go to Celebrate Recovery, and she was going to give her testimony. And I went there, and I thought I just wanted to go there and see what it was. I knew it wasn't for me; it was for everybody else, you know. Until I went there and went in the door, and I just kept going back. Yeah. And I realized how much a meeting like that can help anybody, because we all have issues in our life. We all suffer from depression, anxiety at times, and we've all had a lot of hurts that we've never dealt with.
And hang-ups.
Amen. Things we never learned to deal with, and just realized how important that was. And then after, it was going for a while, and then we started talking about having a Brianna's Hope at our church. She had talked to Randy Davis, who started Brianna's Hope, and wanted to see if we could get somebody to come in and tell us about it. And it was about in that same time period I lost one of my youngest nephews to an overdose, and kind of touched home a lot then. I really wanted to do something and see what we could do to help people. And I still have a lot of friends in addiction today, and we got Brianna's Hope come to the church and realized how much of a difference you can make just by loving people and being there for them and letting them know there's people that care and people that'll help them get through the day, and give them somebody to call if they need somebody to call in the middle of the night if they're struggling with anything. And Pastor Randy Davis come down from Red Key, and we started meeting. It's almost been 2 years now since we started at our church, and it's just been a huge blessing to our church and to the community, because there's so many people that I've seen start coming right out of jail and start coming there, and then now got over a year clean, and it's just awesome to see them grow through that. And we're not counselors. We just give them resources and help them find other meetings and just let them share whatever they're struggling with. And the meetings help me as much as they do anybody, because we struggle with things every day that people in recovery do, and we're all learning how to deal with those things and how to get through them. But it's definitely been a blessing. But Brianna's Hope's been I mean, it's just helped me get through my divorce I went through recently, and just everybody there becomes like your family. And
They do.
And you just have that opportunity to have so many people that you can call anytime, day or night. And love that.
Oh, yeah. Now, when they go to Brianna's Hope, too, there's something special that you do for them, that, like the first time they come. Tell us about that.
First time they come, we give them a blanket, and we pray over the blankets and pray for the person that's going to receive them. And we call it a hug of love. It's something for them to wrap around them if they're struggling. And we also give them our phone numbers and tell them anytime they're struggling to wrap that blanket around them and call us, and just hold it tight and just feel God's love around them while they call, and give them somebody to talk to.
Absolutely. I know the girls, when they went, I think that just means something to them. I mean, a blanket, people say, oh, it's just a blanket. But that blanket, like you said, has been covered with prayers.
Yes.
And when you give it to them, it's given in love.
Yes.
And that sometimes that's what people are looking for, and it's just one of those things, that recognition. And I have a young lady that's coming tonight that gets her 60-day
Yes.
token. And I mean, because you
Proud of
give
her.
tokens, and tell us about how that they're recognized.
Yep. We celebrate their clean time with it's a dog tag that says "A Better Life, Brianna's Hope," and it also tells what their clean time is, from detox to 1 week clean, all the way through 3 years clean. And it's just something to recognize and cheer them on, and recognize every step forward they make. And it's fun to celebrate their clean time with them. And if they relapse, we start over with them, and we're there to pick them back up, not judge them, not chastise them, because
Knock
they
them
need
down
that
more.
encouragement. Because if you fall, we've all fallen at different things, whether it be addiction or not. We've all fallen, and if somebody doesn't encourage you to get back up, you're not going to move forward.
Right.
You're going to stay there.
Right. And I know, and like we were saying, there's a meal. You guys serve a meal there that that everyone's welcome to.
Yes.
You have women in the church, or
Yeah, we got a lot of ladies in church that help with the meal, and we also encourage other churches and things that come and serve meals once in a while too. So anybody that wants to serve a meal can get a hold of us, and they can serve a meal 1 week out of the month or whenever they want to. And we also talk to other churches, and they help make blankets at different times of year that we can pass out.
okay, I didn't know how you got them. I just know
some
that there
we
was
buy,
a lot.
some we have made. When we had a good supply of ones made at one time. Right now we had to buy some just because we were short. But and the meeting's grown so much here in the last few months, we had to get some to get ahead. And we also, our third meeting, they get a Brianna's Hope shirt that says "Believe," and on the back it says "Surround yourself with people on the same mission as yourself." And that's what it's all about, just being there for one another. And
Absolutely.
there's so many people that's in that meeting that I've seen have never been to church before, and now they're going to church, and I've seen 4 of them recently get saved and baptized.
Yeah.
And it's Jesus is the one that's going to take you out of it all the way.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of, you can go so far, but nobody ever stays out of it without God in their life that
That's
I've
right.
seen. And it's to
I'm the
see
same
them
way. I
to see
agree.
them come out of that and then start going to church and get saved and baptized. It's amazing.
And they become, not just at Brianna's Hope, but when they start attending church and they start making friends, they become family.
Yes, they do.
And that's what people crave. I mean, a lot of people, there's an old saying, looking for love in all the wrong places. And that's lots of times that's what's happening. People just want, like, you're recognizing people, you're showering them with the blankets, you're showering them with love and prayers. I mean, that's what's void in a lot of people's life.
And a lot of us, like my mom and dad went through a divorce. It wasn't that they didn't love me, but I didn't feel it because of what was going on, and I thought things were my fault and all that. So I really didn't learn to love myself until recently. I went a lot of years not loving myself. And until you learn to love yourself, it's hard to love others right. And to be able to love people where they're at, and no matter what they've done, it's God's gifted me with that now to where it's so much easier to love people. And you start loving people and let them know that you care and you're there. You change worlds, you change their lives, and they change your life.
Oh, yeah.
Because they become a blessing to you.
Yeah. They change your life as much as you're trying to help them
sure.
change theirs. And it's so, I know whenever you were talking about meeting people where they are, and I continually am taking training and stuff. I mean, you always have to keep, more and more and more certifications and stuff. And in the last few trainings I've had, that's one of the keys, even in the carnal world, not even just the spiritual. Meet people where they are.
Yes.
You know, there is no expectation of what I want. It's
Right.
meet them where they are and help them from that place forward.
That's right.
You know, we can't keep putting people back to their past. We have to meet them where they are, and from this day forth, let's move forward.
If you keep bringing up what they did wrong in the past, they're not gonna go anywhere.
Oh,
If I've got somebody putting me down, whether it be on my job, family, or whatever, if
Yeah.
they're putting you down all the time, you're not going to move forward. You're going to say, well, it doesn't matter whatever I do, it's not going to be right anyway. So you're
Right.
going to get to that point and you get discouraged. But if you encourage them, it's amazing how much difference
yeah.
you can see in their lives in a really short amount of time.
Just the recognition, just like you were saying, you know, just you know, the tokens. I mean, those girls come back the next day, and I mean, they're like, look at my token, look what I did. You know, I have 60 days clean, I have
Yeah.
3 months clean, I have, you know, and I mean, that's a big deal when they
Yes.
have got high for 10, 12, 15 years, you know, and to have, you know, 2 months, 3 months, 9 months of clean time, I mean, it's to be celebrated.
Oh, yeah. And there's a
It's
lot
to
of
be-
people that come to our meeting that have lost loved ones or just want to understand somebody in addiction's mindset because they don't understand and they don't know. A lot of people want to help, but they don't understand what they need to do to help. And I have a really good friend who lost her son a couple months ago to an overdose. And she's come and she talked to a lot of pastors trying to get peace with what happened. And she was really struggling. And she's talking to one of the guys that he's got, I think, 9 months clean right now. And after the meeting, she'd never met him before. He went up to her and he looked at her. He said, I just want you to know he didn't do it on purpose. She said, what do you mean? She said, he didn't do it on purpose. I've been there. He said he did what he did and realized by the time it was too late that he'd done too much, but he didn't do it on purpose. He didn't do it to hurt anybody or to hurt himself. He said, I guarantee he was crying out to God at that time. But she called me after the meeting and told me what he said, and she said, you know, they give me more peace than anything anybody has said to me. She wasn't going to come to the meeting. Her daughter talked her into it and went with her, and she said, I'm so thankful I went that night. And it's just,
Wow.
you never know what's going to be shared there, and you never know what you say is going to help someone or how what they say is going to help you. So it doesn't matter whether you're affected by addiction or not. It's a great time to come by and learn.
Yeah.
Because we're all learning every day from each other.
Yeah, you
It's,
never
I've learned
stop
so much
learning.
from your girls at the house,
Yeah.
you know, and it's they share a lot, and it's I'm glad they're coming because they got a lot of insight from a lot of different areas of life, and it's easier to understand them and the pain they went through when they start sharing like that.
Yeah, and you know, even the Bible says we're made overcomers by the words of our testimony, and every time we tell someone of the goodness of the Lord and where you came from and how you've overcame and you know, just loving on people, you get
Yes.
stronger.
Oh yeah.
You get stronger, and like one of the women are speaking tonight, you know, and I mean, she's so excited. She's been up all night. I'm serious. She told me, she goes, I haven't been able to sleep at all.
Aw.
And because she said, I want people to know that it's possible, you know, and I mean, she's like the typical person in addiction, and I just keep thinking about what you said, that young man said about, you know, he didn't mean to do it.
Right.
He didn't do it intentional. If we could grasp that, if
yeah.
parents could just grasp that, they're not out there, you know, saying, oh, you know, I'm just going to hurt everybody today. I'm just going to lose my family. I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to lose my dignity. I'm going to lose my integrity.
And not where they're at because they want to be. They don't know how to
Right.
get away. That's
Right.
one thing with where Brianna's hope started. It was from a girl named Brianna DeBattiste in Dunkirk, Indiana, who was a beautiful girl from a small town. Everybody knew her, but at 25 years old, she disappeared. She'd been struggling with heroin for a while, and they never found her body for 3 months. But 3 days before they found her body, they found a prayer she'd written in her journal, and she was talking about in that prayer that she said, God, I don't do what I do because I want to. I do it because I feel I have no other choice. I want a better life, Lord, I do, and I surrender everything to you. And when Pastor Randy Davis heard that prayer being read in her funeral, he said, I've got to look around and see what kind of help these people have, because I bet a lot of other people don't feel they have any choice and they don't know how to get out of it. And he realized there was no help in the area. There was one AA meeting, but nobody ever came. So they almost never had the meeting. So he started a Better Life Brianna's Hope in honor of Brianna DeBaptiste. And it's since that was in 2014. Since then, we've got 38 chapters now in Indiana and Ohio.
Isn't that
Several
something?
pending, and we can also put people through detox who don't have insurance. And we put
I forgot about that,
put
yeah.
over 725 people through detox, the combined chapters in the last 4.5, 5 years, and it's been a huge blessing. It's growing. There's getting ready to be possibly 2 in Illinois and several more in Ohio and in Indiana. And it's
Now, do you still send them to Harbor Lights?
we do a lot. We sent some down here. We can send them to different areas. Harbor Lights we've sent most to because
Right.
they give us a better deal.
Right.
As far as our money will go a lot farther, and we can send people there longer.
Yeah.
But we can send people to other places. It's just the money. There's only a certain amount of money being allowed per person.
Right.
But
Right.
each chapter tries to come up with different ways to raise money to help with that also. But we've never turned down anybody to put them into detox anywhere. We'll get them there no matter what.
I know when Randy first started, he came down to the House of Ruth and he was talking to me and stuff, and I used to use him a lot before we had North Star and different, and I'm like you, because I would just call him and say, Randy, I got a person that needs to get into detox, and can you help me? And he would call Harbor Lights and he'd say, send them up in the morning at 10 o'clock and they'll be waiting on him. And I mean, everything was paid for. And I mean, that says a lot.
Yep.
I mean, that says a lot, because lots of times people, they want help, but what do? They don't realize, just like Brianna's Hope, just like calling you, just like calling Charmin. I mean, it's one of those things. And insurance now, it will retro back. Now, like if you don't have insurance at this particular time, you can actually still get help, and it will go back and pick up, I think, for like 30 days. So
you can sign up for like HIP and stuff at the hospital too, and if
Right
you
when
don't
you
have
go in,
insurance, as soon as you get in the door, so there's ways to get the insurance if you
it's
need it.
resources, like you said. It's just knowing, because someone may be watching this show right now and they're like, well, I don't have insurance, I don't have this, I don't have, I don't have help. But we're offering you, we're telling you there's ways that you can get help. We want you to succeed. We want you to get the help that you need. And then after detox, I always call that step 1. That's phase 1. And then, maybe find a recovery home, find a place that they can go to pour into them more.
Yes.
To learn. Meridian here has intensive outpatient treatment. There's relapse prevention. I mean, there's so many things. And I don't think people understand that our community. I go to a lot of different communities and talk to people, because with me having the House of Ruth, and next year we'll be celebrating our 10th year. But when I first opened, and we didn't have all that
Didn't
help.
have anything.
I was like out there begging people, you know what I should do? Do you know? And that's when I just started, I just started training and going to education and doing things, because there was no one to call,
Right.
to say, help me,
A lot of communities got a lot more help now and a lot more involved. Shannon Anderson, that leads the meeting with me, went to Connections meeting. We went to Jay County last Sunday. They had a meeting at Jay County High School, and Drug Coalition was there, and all the recovery groups in the area. And there's so many resources in different areas if you know who to ask. But if anybody comes to our meeting and wants resources, if I don't have them, I can usually find somebody to get them for them. And I know you can usually find resources for people too. There's always somebody to ask. And don't be afraid to ask. A lot of people are afraid to ask for help, and that's why they don't talk to family members. And
well, they feel hopeless.
Yes.
I've done this and I've burnt my bridges, and but you've never burnt. As long as you're still alive and as long as you're breathing, I'm telling you, there's help out there. And just like Joel was talking, I mean, that's what God has called me to do. And I know that's what he's called you to do, or you wouldn't be doing this. And people, they'll constantly, well, why do you do this? I can't think of another life
No,
that
I
I would
love
want to
people,
do.
and I want to see them
Yeah.
heal. I want to see people that are hurt know that there's hope,
Yeah.
because there's many that don't feel like there is hope.
Yeah.
And it's a church. A church has been a blessing since we brought Brianna's Hope to the church. It's so many people in the church get involved in helping,
Yeah.
and they want to see these people heal too,
Yeah.
and they love on them as soon as they come in the door, and
Yeah.
they've let them know that they're welcome
Yeah.
no matter what, and it doesn't matter how many times they fall.
Yeah.
We're going to pick them back up.
Yeah. And just like you said, no matter what, it doesn't matter. You're there for them.
That's right.
You're meeting them at the place
Yep.
that they are.
I had a friend that OD'd yesterday, and
Yeah.
I just let him know that I still love him. I'm gonna be right there anytime
Yeah.
he's ready to go get the help he needs, and
Yeah.
never gonna back away from that.
Yeah.
But it's
And that is, and it's just like you said, because I know you deal with people just like you said, your friend that overdosed yesterday. And like the women that came in, every one of them has overdosed. And a lot of people talk about the Narcan, well, that's just a waste of money. And I think if that was my daughter, or if that was my son, or my husband, or I would pray to God that someone with Narcan would be
Yes.
there to save their life.
I don't care how many times they've relapsed. I'm gonna Narcan
Yeah.
them every time if I got it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give them a chance. God's given me hundreds of chances over and
yeah.
over and over again, and
Oh, yeah.
it's not up to me to judge them and tell them they don't deserve a chance
No.
this time.
No. And sometimes they have to have that understanding.
Yes.
The Bible, and I always go back to Scripture, because everything that we relate to, you can find Scripture. And it says, my people perish for lack of knowledge.
Yes.
It's like you said, the young gentleman said, he didn't do it on purpose. No one's just going to, in their right mind is going to just take a shot and,
No.
well, maybe I'll die, maybe I won't. They're not doing it for that reason. They're doing it because the drug is driving them
That's
at that
right.
time. And
They're
there's
sick-minded. They're not thinking
yeah,
like they normally would, or they wouldn't make those decisions.
they wouldn't make them if they were thinking clear.
They're not the same people that you knew before, and until they get free of that, they aren't going to be. So you can't judge them for what the decisions they're making now. You just got to kind of help them, guide them in the direction they need to go, and
Right.
hope that they accept the help.
Yeah, well, it's just like you said. If they were thinking clear, they wouldn't be doing
Yep.
that. But once, and I always tell people, because they'll say, well, they had a choice. They sure did that first time, but it doesn't mean that that's how they meant to end up.
No, I had a choice when I started doing the
Yeah.
things I was doing.
Me too.
And I always thought that all I do is smoke marijuana and drink right now. It's not as bad as what they could be doing, what I
Right.
could be doing. But then
Right.
it went to cocaine and LSD and pills, and
Yeah.
it didn't progress to meth and heroin, thankfully, just because it wasn't prevalent here at the time.
Right.
But I could have been dead just like my nephew,
Exactly.
because I could have been there. I know if
Exactly.
it was here, I would have used it.
Yeah.
And thankful it wasn't. But things snowball, and you don't realize how far you've gotten into it until you're already there.
Till you're there.
And then you got to, like I said, that's thankful that God took it all away from me when he did. And that was
Yeah.
just for my kids. I know that now.
Yeah.
And I see that he needed me to be there for them at the time.
Yeah.
But not everybody has that luxury.
Right.
A lot of people struggle, and it breaks my heart to
Right.
see them struggle like they do. But I want to make that struggle as easy as possible. If there's things we can do for them, and let them know that there's help and there's
Right.
people that love them every day.
Right.
And
And that's what you're doing.
Yes.
And that's what you're doing, and that's so important, Joel. That is so important, because I know just how you've poured into the lives of the women at the House of Ruth. It's amazing, and every one of them. And I'm not just saying that because you're here. Every one of them, that's their favorite meeting of the week.
Is it?
They will
Yeah.
tell me that. They're like, because I told him today, I said, with her speaking, that they were going to not miss this meeting. They said, no way, no way.
I'm glad
So
you're there.
oh, absolutely. And time is running out, and I am so happy that you joined in, and I'm so happy that you joined us today, Joel.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, and if you have any questions, contact Crosspoint Bible Church. Just ask for Joel. Someone will get a message to
Yes.
him. Thank you for joining us today. God bless.